I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here along with Ellen Miller.
Good morning,
Good
Scott.
morning, Ellen. It's a little chilly out there.
It's going to get real chilly. It's not too bad right now.
I know. Wait, what do you mean it's going to get real chilly?
I heard it's going to get real cold.
Yeah, but the real cold part usually happens when we're asleep. You know what I mean?
I hope so.
I mean, people are like, there's going to be a low of like 4 or whatever. And you're like, yeah, but you're in bed.
Tomorrow the high will be 12 and the low will be 0.
Oh, good.
That's to me cold.
That is cold. That is
Wait,
cold.
then it gets better. On Tuesday, the high will be 11 and the low will be -4.
Right.
That's when we're in bed. We'll be up for the 11, so that we can
Thank
frolic.
goodness. Yeah.
We can frolic in the
Bust
11.
out the culottes.
Bust out the
Bust out the culottes and the flip-flops. I mean, that's what it's all
Absolutely.
about here. I'm embracing the hygge and the winter wonderlandness.
Indeed.
That's happening
That's
late
what
in the
it
winter.
is. That's what we got.
I know, that is what we got. But hey, we've got a great show for you today. A little bit later on this hour, Clue live on stage comes to Broadway in Chicago, CIBC Theater from February 18th to March 2nd. It's based on the cult classic 1985 movie and Hasbro board game. 6 guests assemble at Body Manor for a dinner party to die for. I love this movie so much.
Never saw the movie. Loved the
Really?
game as a kid. I played it all the time.
Oh,
Never
see, I
saw
think
the movie.
it's a weird one.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. Like it hit at a very, like I think, 1985. So you were off living your life and doing your thing.
Yeah.
And I'm as much younger.
Yeah, much younger. You were
I'm
seeing
much
a lot of
younger
movies.
than I am.
Yeah.
It was kind of aimed from it, and it was one of those movies that played on HBO like all the time. I love this movie, and I'm so excited we get to chat with Elizabeth Yancey from the show. And Illinois Conservatory for the Arts hosts its 3rd annual A Night of Broadway benefit gala and concert featuring its greatest all-star lineup of Broadway stars to date. That's coming up on February 21st at Wentz Concert Hall in Naperville. And Broadway legend and huge friend of the show, Karen Mason, is going to be joining us. I always love talking with her.
I always loved Karen, as I've mentioned over the years. She was a longtime family friend from the 60s and 70s.
I know, it's crazy.
My mom and my sister and Karen acted together.
That girl's going to go somewhere.
She's my mom.
I know.
That girl's going places.
That girl's going places. And she has been
she
going
sure
places.
has.
Can't wait to catch up with her.
Yep.
Plus we're going to talk about, I don't know, historical erasure, a completely deranged billionaire, and a congressman reveals what I can only refer to as a Richard pick. Did you see that?
I
Garcia.
know. I didn't see it.
Oh
I
my
just read
God, it
about
was so funny. So funny.
Whose
I love
Richard
him.
was he picking?
He showed a picture of Elon Musk.
Of Elon. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, hey, yeah, this is President Elon Musk. He is a Richard. Mm-hmm. Which made me giggle.
Yes.
Like so petty. So petty, but snaps all around.
Why
There
not?
we are. And of course, we would love to hear from you. So give us a call at 773-763-9278. The number again is 773-763-9278. Of course, you can find us on Facebook where we're coming at you live. Just head on over to Out Chicago Radio. And while you're there, give us a click and a like and a share. But if that doesn't float your boat, you can always tune in on WCPT AM 820 and ask your smart speaker to play us on TuneIn and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
And you can find us on heartlandsignal.com. Follow WCPT and Heartland Signal on all the socials. There we go. I think that's
Anywhere you want to look, you'll find
Anywhere
us
you want to look.
on the
Yes, there we are.
socials.
We're just like Visa.
Yes, we are.
Everywhere you want to be. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's that February, midwinter thing kind of.
I know, you're usually getting ready to head out of town, too.
No, I'm not going anywhere. Staying home and loving on our dog.
Loving on the pups.
She's still in remission, so we're just thrilled to have her
good.
being so frisky and happy and healthy. So we're enjoying that. Saw a couple of shows. One I really loved and one that was, it's okay.
Okay.
It was good.
Oh,
No, it was good. You know what? Here's the thing. Fat Ham, first off, Goodman Theater. Oh my God!
Look, I am
so
fantastic. Bummed that I haven't seen it, and I'm still really bummed about how that was the day our phones went out. And we were interviewing,
Yes.
what's his name? Tremaine
Trumaine Alston.
Tremaine Alston.
Who plays Juicy.
He plays Juicy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then he was
listening.
so amazing
We
through
gotta
the whole
get him
thing.
back.
I know. It was
There's
great.
so much to talk about.
I
with that
hear that it
show.
is just wonderful. People
It's a
like
delight.
say that they were giggling after the curtain came down.
It's just. Go check it out.
Ife Butler.
She steals it.
Of course she
steals
does.
it.
Of course she does.
Like one word out of her mouth, and we're like, ripping, we're laughing our butts off.
Yeah.
She is so great. It's really good. It's just, I can't say it. Boy, that Goodman is happening. I mean, it was packed because Betrayal was in previews, which we're both going to see tomorrow night.
Yeah.
with
That's
Helen
in the
Hunt.
big space, right?
That's in the big space. But anyway, really, we have an embarrassment of riches going on. Go check out Fat Ham. It's going until, I believe, March 9th.
I think it got extended again.
Did it get extended?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
we'll check in on that. And then this is a show that I saw in the 80s when Steppenwolf first did it with Billy Peterson and Rondi Reed, who are both personal friends. And I was kind of involved with Steppenwolf at the time and in the inner circle, I should say. And there was something very edgy about Sam Shepard in the 80s. And I think the edgy just isn't quite as edgy anymore.
Really? Okay.
And a friend of mine said, "You mean incest isn't edgy anymore?" Because there's a little of that going on.
Yeah.
No, you know what? Well acted. I just love Carolyn Neff.
Caroline Neff is great.
She's just a fantastic person to watch on stage. Everybody was great. Tim Hopper.
I love Tim Hopper.
I do too. Longtime Steppenwolf ensemble member.
He is one of those rare gems that people he should be more famous than he is.
Yeah,
he's so good.
He's so good. He's just there. And so look if you're a Sam Shepard fan, it's a great show. It's only an hour, so I enjoyed it. I kind of agree with Chris Jones. I mean, they did it. They did it in a huge way back when it first, Sam Shepard was hanging out at Steppenwolf.
Now, was that when they were in the Hull House or the one on Halstead?
They were on the Halstead.
On the Halstead space?
Yeah, they were in the Halstead space.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a magical time, for
that would be
them.
really interesting too, because that space, it's no longer there.
Right.
It was like Halstead and George.
Yes, Halstead and George, across from the Gaslight Bar.
Across from the Gaslight Bar.
Where many tales can be told.
I can only imagine.
Oh boy, I got a bunch.
I bet you do. I bet you do, especially with that crew. But that was a really intimate space.
Yeah.
Because when I started, because by the time I had moved into the city and was really going through things, Steppenwolf had moved to their current home on.
Did you never
Northern
see
Halstead.
anything at the old space?
Not from Steppenwolf, but from who was there? It was Touchstone. I think Touchstone Theater was there, and I saw a couple of things because I lived right down the street from there, so I would just go and check things out, and I loved how intimate that space was. So I can only imagine something.
Yeah,
that was as gritty and edgy as
it was
Sam Shepard to be right there in your face.
It was.
I think here's the thing. I think space really does help. It helps up with. Well, no, it determines the outcome of the show. That's why I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little okay. I get why Betrayal is going to be in the big theater
right.
at the Goodman. At the Owen. No, that's. The Owen.
The Owen.
Yeah. Yes, the Owen at Goodman, because, you've got big name celebrities that are in there and all that, but it's only 3 people. And it's a very talky play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's okay. Now I'm just putting on my critics thing, but I remember seeing POTUS at Steppenwolf. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
We thought that the stage was too big. Mm-hmm. It was too big. There was too much time for people to make crosses and everything. And comedy needed something more intimate and more immediate, as opposed to the space. So I don't know. That's just me.
I get it. Well, I saw The Cave, as I said last Saturday, at a Red Orchid. Talk about an intimate space.
Yep. Well, that reminds me of the old Steppenwolf space. The one
that was a little bigger, though.
It's a little bigger, yeah. Red Orchid is tiny.
It's really tiny. And I brought she couldn't believe. A friend was visiting from San Francisco. It was another mutual friend with Natalie West, who was in the show. And she's like, I can't believe this theater. And I go, believe it. And people like Mike Shannon performing, had performed in that theater.
That
and
big
Natalie,
old head.
everybody. But anyway, we're so lucky to have it. I mean, I recommend Full for Love. Most people probably didn't see the 1984 production.
Probably not. That's about 40 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Wow. Hello.
But what a cast! It was Randy Arney, William Peterson, Rondi Reed, Terry Kinney.
Oh, Terry Kinney, he's another good one.
He directed it too, and Glenn Headley.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, there we go.
And Sam was like, Shepard was around, like, I met him a couple of times.
Of course,
and,
doing that gritty 80s thing.
80s thing. But anyway, check it out, and definitely Fat Ham. And probably, I'm sure Betrayal tomorrow is going to be fantastic.
I know,
too.
I've never seen a production of it.
I haven't either.
So
it's going to be a first.
The last time that I've actually even looked at it was we worked on it in acting class, so that's been 30 years. You know, so so I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And then we had Valentine's weekend.
How was your Valentine's?
Mine was very, very nice. We kept it local. We walked to a restaurant called Cebu. I think I'm pronouncing it's a Philippine restaurant on Lincoln, where the old Bacon and Eggs used to be. It's like on the 3100 block of Lincoln Avenue. Okay. Just south of Belmont and
Filipino
Lincoln.
Food is really good.
Oh my God, it was the food was delicious. We had a pork belly that cooks for several hours, and we had these lovely lumpa egg rolls it's like the Philippine version of egg rolls with shrimp. We had beautiful vegetables and some tamarind fries and some fabulous dessert. They like a churro with a cream cheese thing. It's like. Very good. Place was packed.
Of course.
Nice vibe.
The fact that you went out on Valentine's Day, I tip my hat to you. That is bravery or silliness.
We always go out for Valentine's Day, generally, except for COVID. We like to go out, but being on a Friday, we made a reservation somewhere else like about a month in advance, and they called and said they had a $100 price fixed per person. And I was like, we just can't eat that much food. I just don't need for two of us to have, 4-course meal. And it wasn't the money as much as it was, we just don't need to do it. So we canceled that. And I said, let's find somewhere where we can walk in the neighborhood. We hadn't tried this restaurant yet. Highly recommend it.
Were you at like 5 o'clock?
7:15.
Wow.
7:15.
Ellen
it's
Miller,
not on every.
People or something. They know you.
It's not. That's why everybody that sat around us, it was their first time going. The restaurant's fairly new.
How great.
They're doing brunch. They have like this decadent brunch menu of pancake, French toast things that are just phenomenal sounding. But they only do dinner a couple nights a week. They're going to expand. But it was lovely. We spent all weekend at home, basically. Just walked to the restaurant on Friday night and hunkered down yesterday, and I made it out of the house to come do the show today.
Well,
so here
look
I
at
am.
you. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm becoming a homebody in my old age.
Look, I am totally homebody.
I know you
I am
are.
a homebody mama right now.
How was your Valentine's?
Girl, okay.
I know it's always,
So I'm not the biggest Valentine's Day fan. It's like... There's, from my youth, it was always kind of like, to me, it was the haves showing the have-nots, exactly how much they have not. It felt like there was something kind of like, a little Miss Lonely Hearts, which that was me. I'm a little Miss Lonely Hearts, I guess, when I was younger. And then all my time, in the food service industry, like just waiting tables. It's amateur night. People don't know how to go out to eat. They don't know how to tip. They don't understand that, like, hey, you've got to leave. You're going to turn this table.
It can be a nightmare for restaurant owners.
It's
all two tops.
It's all two tops, and it's like it should be a faster turn. Like it's weird, and there's a strange expectation people have, kind of like New Year's Eve. They have this strange expectation that should be magical and like a movie or whatever it is. So I'm generally a little like. Also, if there's if you have to have a special day to let somebody know that you love them. I think you might need to journal a little bit.
I think we all do, but you know what? It's nice to take the time to really put it into words or put it into a card.
Right. But I feel like I do that often. there are little tiny things that I do every day, or that I'll leave a note or whatever. Like I do a good job of trying to communicate my love.
You're a 365-day Valentine.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and Jerry's started a new job, so I've just been doing little happy things for him. Like he'll get home from work before I do, so I'll have a fire laid out for him, and all he has to do is just light a fire and just sit in front of it, with the pup.
That's so sweet.
Just be sweet and make special meals, and bought a little succulent for his desk and everything, and bought a little face serum that he loves, that sort of deal. And poor Jerry, he is a hopeless romantic. So he's been dealing with this for 21 years. And he, I picked him up from work because it was a little chilly that day.
That's a nice Valentine gift.
Even though it was a 15-minute walk
That's
home.
Okay.
But whatever, And he had this little thing, and we like T-shirts because we're gay men, and love little things. So he got me something from. Have you ever been to Raygun?
Well, you got me a T-shirt.
I did get you from Raygun. Yeah. But I love Raygun. It's a fun shop, and they do good work, and they're a Midwestern company. They started in Iowa. They're here in Andersonville. They're just a good little local, fun sort of thing. So he bought me a T-shirt, and when I opened it up, I was like, oh. Okay, interesting, cool. I'll wear this on the show on Sunday. And he's like, oh, great. And I kind of went about, and I was like, I made us a special dinner. I made spinach madeleine and these delicious pork chops.
What's spinach madeleine?
Girl, it ain't nothing but spinach and a whole bunch of cheese.
Okay, I pictured that.
It's a southerny cheese and breadcrumb kind of thing, and some potato. We made a lovely little meal, and I hopped in the shower, and I just I'm just gonna no, and I put on the shirt.
T-shirt.
Yeah, we were hanging out in front of the fire.
I'm afraid to hear what's
having a good time. And as I'm walking away,
he's
to go into the kitchen.
Now. For those listening, Scott is unbuttoning his sweater.
To go into the kitchen, to do something. He's like, someone in Chicago loves you, because that's the shirt. And I'm like, nope. Someone in Chicago hates my guts. And he's like,
He went the wrong shirt.
Where did you get that? When did you get that shirt? I'm like, you just gave it to me. And the look on his face was shock, horror, and absolute delight. He went, oh, no. He laughed his butt off the entire time. We started laughing. He's like, no, it's supposed to be someone in Chicago loves me, but you got me a someone in Chicago hates my guts.
What would be what? Wow.
But I was like, oh, it's kind of it's a political thing. Oh, yes, somebody who clearly voted for Trump hates me without even knowing me. Or maybe it's just an ironic thing about how I hate Valentine's Day, so he's going to kind of lean into that. But he literally, it was underneath the thing of someone in Chicago loves me, and he was scrolling through,
and
just going through.
He grabbed it, but he didn't look at the actual shirt. He was looking at the side, and he grabbed
the side and the size, and then he just put it in. They wrapped it up for him and everything.
Hysterical.
I laughed so hard. I'm like,
oh my gosh, someone in Chicago.
He was like, I was wondering why. Hates my guts.
Not
just hates me. Hates my guts.
That's quite a T-shirt.
I know. And when I opened it, he was like, I thought you were a little underwhelmed by the message. That someone in Chicago loves you.
Well, yeah, what a Valentine message.
I know. So,
if that doesn't say Valentine's Day, I don't know what
Valentine's
does.
Day, but it's been hilarious.
Yes.
And I've been reminding him every once in a while, oh, I'm doing this because someone in Chicago hates my guts or whatever. So, yes.
Isn't that true love, though? Every now and then, you hate their guts.
Right? 100%.
No, I never hate Kathy's guts. Never.
No.
Never.
She's listening, isn't she, Ellen?
She's listening, totally. Yes, she is.
We snip at each other, as couples do.
Of course.
We do that a little, but we don't ever hate each other.
We don't hate each other's guts. No, but I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
That
and
is very funny.
Perfect gift for somebody who...
What a Valentine gift.
I know, so there we are.
That'll go down in the annals of history.
Oh, yeah, there we are. Yes.
We were going to cook at home and just avoid the whole Friday night thing. But I couldn't find. I wanted to do king crab legs. I couldn't find them anywhere.
I'm not the biggest fan of king crab legs.
Yeah,
there's too much work for such a little meat.
They hurt my fingers.
But there's not that much in there. It always reminds me of like going to a casino buffet.
Thick crab legs and you crack them open, there's a lot of meat in there. If you get the big,
yeah, but they're gigantic, and then for the amount of meat that's like it's like you've got this like 4-foot thing, and then you have like this little.
It's a little work. It's a little spiny on your fingers.
Yeah.
Anyway, we didn't go that route.
But you decided to go and support local.
And support a local.
We supported local as well.
Yes, you did.
Oof.
And someone hates you for it.
Someone hates my guts. Someone hates my guts.
Well, someone probably always. There's somebody who's going to hate one of our. It's going to hate our guts.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's great. Usually
supporters.
they're on Twitter. Yeah. There's somebody who likes to say really weird things. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm doing my job.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm doing my
Speaking
job.
of our job.
Yeah, we should probably pay some bills is what we should do. Why don't we get ready to take a break? But before that, this part about Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. Attention listeners, financial planners, CPAs, and divorce attorneys. If you are wondering why your mortgage professional has not returned your calls, it's probably because they are one of over 165,000 mortgage professionals who didn't renew their license over the past 24 months. And they hate your guts. If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. In the past 24 months, while the other companies have been shutting down and loan officers are not renewing their licenses, Team Hochberg has been adding loan officers who's stronger than ever and would love to earn your business. They don't hate your guts. So let's review. In the past 24 months, mortgage companies have closed over 165,000 loan officers, exited the mortgage business, while Team Hochberg has expanded and is stronger than ever. So if you'd like to work with an experienced mortgage professional, call Team Hochberg now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. The number again is 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, there's more Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Hey, this is Mark Patton, and I'm from Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street, and you're listening to Out Chicago.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, rolling along. And hey, just a reminder, Out Chicago has its very own podcast, 2 actually, full episodes and featured episodes. You can just search Out Chicago wherever you get your podcasts, or get the podcast links on our show page by visiting heartlandsignal.com/out-Chicago. On that page, you'll also find our recent interviews with Seth Rudetsky, Tony Award winner Jesse Mueller, Vanessa Severum, Michael Cheyenne, Randy Rainbow, Judy Gold, Chicago alderperson Lamar Robinson, Michelle Williams of Death Becomes Her, so much more. Again, go to heartlandsignal.com/out-Chicago and just tune in, and then leave on like an 87-star review.
There you go.
You can only leave 5s.
That's your mission, folks.
Yes, leave us an 87-star review.
87, not 88, not 86.
No, and not 5.
Not 5.
More than 5. More than 5, because we're amazing. We're fabulous. We're so fabulous that people are trying to erase us from history.
Yeah.
Y'all, this is... I'm trying. I'm really... I'm flummoxed is what I am. So in these strange times, I'm having a very hard time to be like, what is our message? What are we trying to put out there into the world here on the Out Chicago? And we're trying to, give some action points. It's fun to be, to bitch and whine, but, sometimes that doesn't do anything. It just kind of creates more blah, blah, blah. But right now I'm just kind of really angry. Yeah. I'm really, really angry. I was talking with some friends last night. I have several friends who have trans kids. And I know they all have in their world, in their immediate world, people who voted for Ding Dong.
Ugh. Like grandparents or aunts and uncles kind of thing?
Yeah, or like really, really, really close friends and all and family members. And I mean like immediate family members and like people who are in their world. And they just choose not to talk about it. And the thing that really has been getting my goat as we are watching just the petty cruelty that is coming out of this administration, out of this White House, out of President Musk, out of all of this stuff, out about his little crypto kids and all that, like, it is just cruel, petty, and just mean. It's
all of those
mean.
things, yes, and more.
And homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic, racist. Like, there's so much behavior. And I am not saying that every person who voted for Ding Dong is a homophobe, transphobe, misogynist, is racist, is all of those things. But that wasn't a deal breaker for any of you.
Nope.
That was not a deal breaker because
you knew
exactly.
Not being a criminal, not being a racist, not being a misogynist. None of it was a deal breaker.
That was not a deal breaker. You just did not care. You did not care that this person was cruel, petty, and hateful. And I have zero time for that anymore.
I am with you. I'm frustrated. I'm sad. I wonder if some of these people have any remorse, if they didn't, do they not care about government? Do they not care about, gosh, we have so many people that work for the government in this country. We depend on the government for things. The first thing people want when they have trouble is they want to go ask the government for help. Whether it's personal help or their house is something in a horrible disaster. It sickens me. It sickens me to see what's going on in this country. And I just cannot believe that so many. I remember they keep saying there was a big mandate. 2 million people is not a huge mandate when you consider how many people didn't even bother to vote.
Right. Oh, yeah.
In this country.
No,
But they're going to take that and run with it and the lies. And it's depressing.
But it's the people that voted for him that really, like, again, that are like in my world, in the worlds of my friends. That's like the big thing. I'm like, there's some people that are very, very like entrenched in their lives, and I'm like, how
could they? I agree. I don't know. I don't know that many of my, in my world that voted for him, but they're out there. I mean, certainly there's Facebook friends that are, high school friends of mine, and I'm like so close to like getting rid of them, but there's a part of me that wants to hear from them, as time goes on and just see, you're happy with this? I mean, you're happy with what looks to be a dictatorship, an oligarchy?
Yeah.
A guy that wasn't even elected getting in our personal business and just Elon Musk is just, this is unbelievable to me. What's going on with him?
Elon, I mean, just let's put a pin in him, and put that over there. But with all of the social media stuff, the fact that there is no fact checkers anymore, that there is nothing going on, the fact that most of the people get their information, get their news from social media, and there are zero checks and balance, and it's from these people. They're the ones who decide what sort of information you get.
Yeah, right.
That is scary.
It is.
That is very scary. And there they are overseas talking about free speech and all this blah, blah, blah. And yet they're turning press away. Yeah. Associated Press, all from like going into to press briefings and all this stuff.
If you don't fall in line, it's like Kim Jong-un's, playbook. It's like Putin's playbook. Oregon. It's a dictator playbook.
Yes. And they are erasing history. And what I'm talking about specifically, the National Park Services have removed the T from the LGBTQ plus acronym, as well as any references to transgender folks from the official Stonewall National Monument website on Thursday. It is the very first historical landmark dedicated to LGBTQ rights and the LGBTQ movement. And don't get it twisted. There would be, let's say there was a great sign that said you can't spell Stonewall without the T. And without our transgender folks and non-binary folks, and there would not have been an uprising.
No.
There would not have been begun.
Got it going.
I mean, you've got like Marsha Parks. You have, Marsha Johnson. Marsha Parks. Johnson. She's somebody that I know. Marsha Johnson, Sylvia Rodriguez. You have these folks who were outspoken, who are out there trying to demand equality, demand just basic human rights, like not getting fired from your job, getting in an apartment, not being denied health care. Like, they're all of these things that many people take for granted. They came because of the people at Stonewall that rose up, that came up, if you are unfamiliar with what it is, the Stonewall riots happened because the New York police kept raiding gay bars and imprisoning people, like putting them in jail.
Was a gay bar in the Village.
Stonewall in New York City. And one summer day, well, summer night, everybody just said enough is enough.
Fought back.
And they fought back. And it lasted for days. And all in the Village. And it began the modern LGBTQ rights movement. Mm-hmm. And it was started by people who could not hide, who could not, quote unquote, pass, for straight or to be or cisgender. They just could not pass. And these are the folks who were just done. They were done being hunted. They were done being ostracized, attacked by
couldn't even
authorities.
be in a bar minding their own business.
Yes, folks. Well, even here, the thing that I think a lot of young people don't quite understand is like, you do realize that just having windows in a gay bar is a relatively new thing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? They used to be blacked out so nobody could see who was inside.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing. And so for them to take down and erase this part of history, part of American history, but part of our LGBTQ history is really, really a big thing. I know there were protesters there this weekend, which is great. And I'm sure, the parks, the national parks, they didn't have any choice.
No, they didn't. It wasn't their choice at all.
No, it was from the mandate that came down from the executive order about, like, we're just getting rid of all that for anything that gets federal funding. What? Like, this is how it begins. I keep going back to like my friends who I'm like, who they have some friends in their world that I do not particularly enjoy. These are also people who voted for Ding Dong. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, again, like, this is my family, my friends, my community that you seem to have zero problem with them, erasing us or non-existing. Like, there are only two genders now. There are, all of that sort of stuff. And it keeps going. I keep going back to, and then I had this conversation about how, I think it's going to be, it wasn't me, it was my friend saying, I think that it's going to come down to those people who voted, who were like, wait, this isn't what I signed up for. And I'm like, okay, I think it's, what did you sign up for? And,
what did you expect?
What did you expect? Again, as Governor Walz said, if they took the time to make a playbook, why do you think that they're not going to use it? Yeah. And then I think it's going to be up to them to take, because like in the gay rights movement, in the LGBTQ rights movement, we took it as far as we could, and then we had to rely on our straight allies to come and lift us up. And like, okay, I agree with that. But right now, I don't think these people who voted are going to be here for us. They're not showing that they are. And I keep going back to that poem about, like, first I came to the Jews and I didn't do anything because I'm not Jewish. And then they came for the communists and, but I didn't do anything because I'm not a communist. And then they came to me and I looked around and there was nobody left to help.
Yeah. This is where we're going to be.
This is kind of like, again, I don't say this lightly. I don't say this just in jest. And I don't mean for it to be like panic inducing. Because again, like, we have a responsibility to say something productive. But right now, I think we really need to be focused on those people in our world who did not see any problem with voting for a man who is, again, this hateful, this petty, this cruel. This is what they're spending their time on, taking down letters on a website, signing executive orders for plastic straws, just for stupid stuff.
Just anything that appears to be woke, whatever their definition of that is.
Yeah, which is completely dumb.
Yeah, it's completely dumb. It's completely dumb. Scott, I'm with you. I've been saying I wish we had a Democratic voice that every single day was speaking out in a concise way about taking everything to task. But I'm not hearing it. I'm not seeing it. Whether it be Kamala, whether it be Pete Buttigieg, somebody that is just every single day having a different voice and reminding people how wrong this is. Because as we know, if they tell the lie enough, people just start believing it and they get worn down. I mean, they're trying to wear you down with all this stuff. They're trying to make you fatigued. They're trying to make you feel like, what can I do? There's so much being thrown at me. I don't know where to start. We can't take that attitude. And I'm disappointed that I'm not hearing more from somebody every single day. Taking an interview on the news stations.
Well, there is a big movement right now on the social media about having Pete Buttigieg kind of give a daily press release.
I've been saying
press conference
I wanted
from the
Kamala
Democratic
to be that
Party.
Person, but whoever
I think
it
that
is,
would have been a little too. That could be perceived as sour grapes. You know what I mean?
She's asking us for money every single day. I'm like, I'll give you money, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah, but I ain't giving you money.
I'm not giving anybody money right now until I hear what I want to hear you take this to task. I'm not hearing enough about it. It's yeah.
Well, just know that it's like it. Yeah, we have to do something. We have to do things. You have to contact your elected officials. Just keep doing it. Keep calling it. Keep calling. Keep emailing. I've gotten several email responses from my elected officials because I keep sending them stuff. Make a call. And again, remember, you need to call with an action item. You need to call and asking for a response from them, and keep it clear, concise, and keep it to one issue. And if you need to call back again with a different issue, keep doing that, because the number of calls helps. Because in the previous administration, Republicans kept calling theirs, and the numbers kind of showed up. This is like the people who are not happy. If we do the exact same thing, we need to call our elected officials, express them our displeasure, and our just completely like being aghast at what's going on. And that is the gayest word ever. But we have to make sure that you are calling, that we are on it. We have to hold these elected officials accountable, because right now, it's a very slippery slope.
It is. It's just every day. There's something called 5calls.org, which I've also been promoting on my Facebook page. Spend 5 minutes, make 5 calls, make your voice heard. It's 5calls.org. Just Google it. It leads you through.
Is it the
prompts.
number 5 and then calls?
Yes, it's a number 5 and then the word calls.org. Check it out. It makes you feel good after you do it. It makes you feel like you're not hopeless and helpless. We've got to not let them wear us down, because he's not my president. He's my enemy. And every single day he continues to prove that he is. And his little minions.
Those crypto kids.
Oh.
Those little incels are just going to drive me crazy. Anyway, we need to take a break.
Okay.
And we're going to do a big, major switching of gears.
Yes, we are.
Get some distractions going on here.
We need that.
We do. We are going to be chatting with one of the talented cast members who are coming in for Broadway in Chicago's Clue live on stage. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT.
Hi, this is Renee Taylor. You're listening to Out Chicago, WCPT 820.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, rolling along.
Yes, we are.
We're having a little difficulty getting a hold of our guests for Broadway in Chicago.
Hopefully she'll call us any
hopefully she'll
second
give
now.
us a call. I know I believe they're in Oklahoma right now.
Oh.
So maybe there's like some sort of Oklahoma.
Maybe there's a dust bowl.
Could be. Could be.
What's happening there?
Could be. I don't know. So I guess instead of something delightful, we'll talk about more horrors.
Yeah, let's talk about more horrors. There's plenty of them to choose from out there, obviously.
I know. It's just bananas. They RFK got it confirmed. I don't. Okay. I really wish Tanya Richard was here, because mostly because this whole like little make America healthy again. This whole thing. It's very focused on eating whole foods and taking processed ingredients out of theirs and feeding our children and looking after school children and making all this stuff. And I seem to recall another resident of the White House who had a very big push towards that,
Yes.
you know, of
Eating healthy
Of eating
and
healthy.
good
But maybe
foods.
she even started her own garden.
She did start her own
right
garden.
there. But apparently America didn't want to hear
Oh
from
no, they didn't want to hear
black
from.
woman.
No, didn't want to hear from a black woman.
From Michelle Obama. There we go. Anyway, so we'll pick up on that.
We'll pick up on
That
that
was
later.
a horrible lead into this delightful conversation that's going to be happening. Because look, murder, mystery, and intrigue and complete foolishness is going to be arriving in Chicago this week. It's Clue live on stage, comes to Broadway in Chicago. And joining us now is part of one of the hilarious ensembles of Clue, Elizabeth Yancey. Elizabeth, welcome to the show.
Yes, hello. Thank you so much.
Of course. How are you doing? Aren't you guys like in Oklahoma right now?
Yes, I am currently in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
All right.
We are coming your way tomorrow.
I hope you packed a very fluffy coat. It is
Yes.
going to be cold, but you're here.
I heard this. Wait, I heard it was like -6 degrees or something.
Not yet. It will be
Not
when
yet.
you get here.
When you're here,
We're
though.
waiting till you get here
Excellent,
for it to be that
excellent.
cold.
There we
Yeah.
are.
Oh, thank you. Very kind.
No problem.
So, Elizabeth, first, congratulations. You're on the road right now. You're in Oklahoma. How's the show going?
It's going really well. Yeah, we've been on the road for about a year now. And
Holy
audiences
smokes.
are still just loving it. Yes.
Look, I've seen the stage production. There was a local production done here, and it is so faithful to the movie, which for me, growing up as a little gay boy in the suburbs of St. Louis
Yes.
in 1985, it was perfection. It is definitely a cult
Isn't it?
classic. When did you first encounter the movie?
Yeah, well, I feel like I encountered the movie when I was in college, and it was really it was the actors for me. It was Tim Curry, just absolutely slaying, and Madeline Kahn, and I mean, just Christopher Lloyd, just an unbelievable cast.
That whole
And so I
ensemble
kind of
is
fell in love
ridiculous.
with the movie.
Yeah.
Yes, it's completely absurd, but in the best way.
Yeah, it's
And such a specific form of comedy.
right. There's
Yeah.
something wonderfully old school about it, and still wickedly smart and very fun and very clever. Okay? So I actually saw it in the theater when it first came out. Okay, shush, 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 Elizabeth, shush. I'm not old. I'm not old.
I didn't say anything. I
I'm
didn't
not
say
old.
anything.
I'm not old. But one of the best. It was like one of the best marketing schemes too, because you had to go see the movie 3 times because
That's right. They had different theaters, had different endings.
Yes.
that's
So
right.
it was really
Forgot
fun,
that.
and it's so much fun. And like I said, you know, it's kind of like these iconic roles. This cast in the film is just redonkulous. And you play Yvette, who is played by
I do.
Miss Colleen Camp. Again, she's the maid at Body Manor with a secret. I mean, don't they all have a secret?
Indeed. Oh, yes.
So
We
okay,
all have secrets.
right? So because this movie has this sort of like cultish base, how did you approach making this role your own?
Yeah, well, I was really fortunate in that I came onto the project back in 2020 during the first iteration of this play. So it was really kind of a collaborative effort between all of the actors who were encountering Sandy Rustin, who's the writer, who was also working hand in hand with Casey Hushin, the director. And they hit it. I mean, it's like when you meet two creatives who absolutely love the energy of the movie and the board game, you know, and kind of hit the nail on the head energetically.
Mm-hmm.
They collaborating with us, I mean, it really, really did a marvelous job in bringing together actors who are paying homage to the movie and the energy of those actors, while at the same time bringing their own comedic chops to it. So for me, you know, that is so specifically French and
Right.
specifically, you know what I mean? Like very much just sort of an archetype, right? The French maid.
Yes.
And so I mean, as an actor, for me, I was kind of using a lot of my mask work and like, okay, well, this is a really fun mask to sort of play with.
Oh, all right. Come on, artsy fartsy
Now,
with the mask work.
Mask work, for those that aren't familiar, elaborate what that means.
Yeah, so basically taking sort of classic archetypes like the lovers or the villain, or in this case, I'm kind of playing with a French maid.
The saucy maid, yeah.
The sexy maid, exactly. Taking those archetypes and playing with them. So the idea is that you're putting on that mask and you're letting that archetype sort of inform the way that you're making decisions on stage.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I've seen clips from the tour and everything, and it looks like just a thrilling production, like really, really physical. Just like, what is it? Has it been like? I mean, you've been doing this for a year. How do you keep it fresh for you?
Oh, well, you know what? I call it my meditation every day.
Okay.
Because the game now, you know, we've spent such a long time creating these characters and living in this really sort of fast-paced murder mystery world. And so I get the joy now as an actor of just coming to work and staying as present as I can on stage. You know, so I call it my meditation.
Yeah.
And I'm really lucky because I'm working with people who do this because we love it.
Yeah.
And we still find that joy on stage, even a year later.
Yeah. Well, there is something wonderful, too, about, like, comedy is what is hard to do. I mean, like, you know, there's that whole thing, you know, dying is easy, comedy is hard. And when you are with an ensemble of these people who are like, the cast just seems so cuckoo bananas talented, you know, like incredible bios and resumes.
Yeah, they are.
You know, but there's something wonderful about, this is our job. Our job is to tell this story and to make people laugh. Like that is, that's just so wonderful in this time.
Now.
Yeah.
Especially now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Truly.
Has there been any moment during this run, which I'm sure there has been, where something has just gone horribly wrong? You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do
Of course. Of course. I mean, you can't be doing a show for a year and something not go wrong, right? But, you know, I would say for me, the most treacherous part of this show are the shoes that I wear.
Okay.
So listen, I love me a heel, sure, but I'm a sneakers kind of a gal in my real life.
Because you're smart.
And thank you so much. But they, you know, the French maid is in the appropriate pump and running around. So, you know, for me, unfortunately, a lot of the accidents have just occurred from my own.
Oh, no. Just like my feet hurt.
It's understandable.
So a lot of dripping, a lot of, you know.
Which I'm sure only adds to the hilarity.
It really does.
There goes Yvette.
Unfortunately, I hate to admit it, but there she goes. Yep, exactly.
There she is, drunk again. There we go.
Exactly. Listen, there is mention of cognac, so it's not out of character.
Me too. I also drink the cognac.
Are you familiar with Chicago, Elizabeth? Have you spent any time here before, and are you looking forward to checking anything out?
So excited because I've really only ever passed through Chicago. I have lots of friends there, and I've heard only wonderful things. I can't wait.
It's a great city. We cannot wait to have you here.
Just bring your snuggly things. That's all.
Yes.
Just bring your warm, comfy things.
I'll
You'll be happy. As long as you prepare, you'll be great. You'll be fine.
Excellent. Great advice.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, hey, if you want something that's just going to be is utterly ridiculous, totally nostalgic, and completely an incredibly fun night out of the theater, don't miss Clue live on stage as it rolls into Broadway in Chicago's CIBC Theater. Performances start the 18th. That's Tuesday.
Yeah, wow.
Ooh.
That's right.
And it
Hit
goes
the
through
ground
March
running.
2nd. For tickets, go to BroadwayInChicago.com. Elizabeth Yancey, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you've got a call to make for your matinee show. And we cannot wait to see you in Chicago. Stay away from the cognac. Me too. I also drink some cognac.
For right after the show.
I am scared.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Our pleasure. Thanks,
break all the legs and we'll see you at the CIBC Theater in Chicago.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
All right. We are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, it is the second hour about Chicago right here on WCPT.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here along with Ellen Miller.
Indeed.
We're rolling along, singing a song. What's the rest of that? Rolling along, singing a song.
Side by side.
Side by side. That's good. You know,
Karen will tell us.
I know. I think we should actually ask our next guest because, look, Illinois Conservatory for the Arts is hosting its third annual Night of Broadway benefit gala and concert featuring its greatest all-star lineup of Broadway stars to date. That's coming up on the 21st at the Wentz Concert Hall in Naperville. And we are so very, very lucky because Broadway legend, a legend, I say, and huge friend of the show, Karen Mason is joining us right now. Karen, welcome back to the show.
Hello.
Hello, darling. Nice to hear your voice.
You know, with all of this talk about like Saturday Night Live with their 50th anniversary, I feel like we need to give you like its own, like your Five Timers Club. You know, I feel like you've been on the show perhaps more than any of our other guests.
Because we love her.
I know.
Do I get a jacket? Because that would be really nice.
All right.
Once we get them, we'll give you one.
Sure. Yes, it's in the mail, Karen Mason. It is in the mail. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. You two sound great. It's so, you know, when they called and asked if I would do this, it was like, well, yeah.
Doy.
Well, we're always excited to have you on.
Yeah.
Oh, and then when we got the confirmation
thanks.
email, we were like, yes, we love Karen.
Things are good. I'm really looking forward to doing this concert because, I mean, look at the lineup, Jay Harris and Ghee, all these Tony Award nominees and winners, and then there's me in the center, who only has MAC awards and a few other things.
Oh, only. Only. Pshaw.
Well, I don't have a Tony or a nomination, but
There's still time.
Look at these. Yeah, there is still time. I'm just excited to be part of this because, listen, anytime somebody asks me to do a fundraiser or a benefit for an arts education program, I'm there.
Yeah.
We need more of it. We need a lot more of it. And the fact that Dylan Ladd has put together this whole thing with his entire team and then asked me back. I did the first one 3 years ago, and now to be able to do this one, I'm just really honored to be part of it and so happy. And you know, and I get to be backstage with all those crazies from Broadway. I can't wait.
I know it's going to be amazing, and of course you are a hometown girl coming in. You know, we love that you like you said, like if you need anything, I'm going to show up. This might be like a kind of a no-brainer kind of question, but you know, you brought up the importance of arts education.
Yeah.
What, in your opinion, like what are the benefits of a strong arts education?
You know, I as the world gets crazier and crazier and crazier, I find that my level of attention gets worse. Now, yes, you know, some of that could be my age, but the only place that I find I can really focus and concentrate is the arts. Mm-hmm. When I'm singing, when I'm learning a song, when we're working on a show, when I'm looking at artwork, when I'm watching a great movie or watching a great actor, you know, it takes me away from the lack of humanity that seems to be in the world and brings me back to a place of humanity. And we really need to have that. We need to be able to show young people different ways of dealing with feeling outside of the world or outside of themselves or outside of what's going on in their schools. there is a way, and that is through the arts. You can discover. I don't know if there's another word for it. You can discover humanity in the arts.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. So,
yeah, I was going to say, I mean, this is when we really count on the arts at times like this, is when we need this shining light to keep us focused and keep us feeling good about life, because there's so many things that you can get mired in the sadness and in the negativity, and the arts lift us, and you are one of the people that continue to do that for us. So we are
thank you.
We're very grateful. I was wondering, you're in New York.
Well, I also.
Yeah, go on.
I'm sorry,
no,
Ellen.
finish.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, finish
I
your
was
thought.
just going to say, I think also the arts bring us direction and kindness and political humanity, which I think is very important.
No.
Okay, that was it.
I'm sorry. I'm going to jump in right here before you answer your next question. Sorry. But just because this is like a giant fundraiser for the Illinois Conservatory for the Arts, there is something as a former arts educator, as somebody who advocates for the arts, as somebody who is an artist myself, it's one of those things where there's a lot of emphasis and value placed on athletics in a young person's life, because it teaches you discipline, it teaches you how to work on a team, blah, 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 whatever. The same thing holds true for the arts. There is a discipline, there is immediate problem solving, there is how to work as a group, as a unit. There's as you said, a way to tap into a humanity that by telling stories. I am a firm believer that when you tell a story, you create empathy, and then through empathy, that is where change can happen. And so I just think that as wonderful as it is, the lineup for this whole concert is wackadoodle, as you said, just crazy talented people, but it's there for the cause, and that is to, help raise money for the Illinois Conservatory for the Arts. Sorry, Ellen, please go.
No, I was going to ask Karen, you're a New Yorker, you've lived in New York for many years. What is the buzz among your fellow actors and singers and performers about what's happening at the Kennedy Center?
Yeah.
The anger, the betrayal, I mean, certainly we all expected that politically all of this trash was going to happen, but that the Kennedy Center, which was a bastion of all kinds of art, all kinds of artists, all kinds of voices, I want that entire place was for everyone, and everyone who had something to say and something that they felt and could express it. And I think I'm hoping that the anger that we all feel, and I mean, it takes my breath away how angry I feel on a pretty much a 24-hour basis these days.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure you all do too.
We do.
That I hope that this anger, I sort of envision that we're all going to be in the streets fighting, but hey, I'll be there.
I mean, people can't. One of my friends, Corky Siegel, who's a Chicago legend and gem. He's a harmonica player.
Yeah.
And, Corky. I just, he sadly canceled his Kennedy Center appearance, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to follow suit. I feel sad about that, but I think we have to kind of, vote with our, with our presence or in our lack of being there. And it's sad though, because it feels like they win,
Right, I know. And that every time somebody leaves or resigns or it does make me feel like, wait, shouldn't we be in here fighting?
Yeah.
But maybe we have to find new ways of fighting. Hopefully the arts will always be there. They can't take it away from us. They might be able to push us down, but they can't take it away. And as long as we have people like the two of you who are out there talking and opening up subjects, about politics and letting people speak and letting people be. I know we'll find new ways to fight this, fight this horror.
Yeah.
And back at you.
And you know, again, not just fighting, but also celebrating. Kind of like, you know, this big concert, a Night of Broadway benefit gala and concert for Illinois Conservatory for the Arts that's coming up on the 21st out in Naperville. Like, that is a huge just celebration of the creative spirit and the creative impulse.
Yeah.
So what, can you give us a little
Thank
hint?
you for taking me back to that, because I do have a tendency to go down a little of a rabbit hole.
Girl,
That's what we're here for.
We could I only get you for 15 minutes. We would have you on for the entire hour. We can just dish.
Yeah,
we will
that.
dish, let me tell you. But bringing it back to Naperville. So what, can you give us a little bit of a, like, what are you going to be doing? Like, how many?
I am. As a matter of fact, I can sing for you a little bit of it.
Please do.
I'm singing a song that I did in And the World Goes Round, which is Colored Lights, which is a Candor and Ebb song.
Yep.
You love
And
Candor and Ebb. We know that.
I do love Candor and Ebb, yeah. And I'm doing a Jerry Herman song called I Don't Want to Know, which is from Dear World. And it's, if music is no longer lovely, if laughter is no longer lilting, if lovers are no longer loving, then I don't want to know. And it goes on from there, and it's really strong and powerful and wonderful. And then on the other side of that, I get to do You've Got a Friend.
Oh,
perfect.
The two of us.
Oh.
No,
we love our karaoke.
we just had Jesse Mueller on the show yesterday, last week too.
Did you?
We did.
Oh my God, I love her.
She's pretty great.
She's great.
She's pretty darn great.
She is great. I did a concert with the Chicago Symphony this past summer with her, and she's a pistol. I just loved her. She's smart and funny and you know, a great gal.
Well,
really
attracts like.
Must be something about being from the Chicago area.
I think that's what it could be.
I think it is.
Yeah.
So with you were talking about like arts education earlier, and this show that's benefiting the Illinois Conservatory for the Arts. Do you remember what your very first role was? I'm not talking like professional role. I'm talking like school play or like Christmas pageant.
Best off Broadway players.
Best off.
Sure.
Yeah.
I do totally. Well, if it's one that is a book musical, it was Annie Get Your Gun in high school.
Okay.
And it was I didn't do anything in grade school. I went to Catholic schools, and we really there's not a whole lot of
the arts really. Yeah. No, not the thing. Yeah.
And so went to a Catholic high school, but by that time, you know, there were a lot more options. And so I went because I needed a date for prom and thought I could meet somebody to take, you know, that I could ask to prom. And I didn't get a date. I've always said I didn't get a date, but I got a life choice.
You got a career.
And
beautiful.
I got a passion, yeah. And that was my first. I had one line. This was at St. Viator's School, and must have been 1965, maybe 67. And I had one line. I had lunch with him yesterday. How did you know? Why I remember that when I can't remember lunch.
Right. Do you remember your character's name?
Yesterday. How did you know?
Townsperson.
Townsperson. You know, from townsperson to Broadway. It's just.
So you didn't go to St. Viator was a boys' school then. So the show was
right,
there?
I went to
Sacred Heart?
No, I went to, the show was there, and Sacred Heart of Mary. We went over and auditioned because they needed the girls and we needed to be with the boys.
Yeah.
It worked out perfectly.
We used to go to their...
You know, I mean, I'm sorry.
Go, finish your thought.
Well, I was going to say, you know, this just, kind of brings me back to the whole Illinois Conservatory for the Arts, is I feel like it's, you know, teaching younger people about like you say, the discipline, the telling other people's stories, telling your own story, learning how to maintain and work with other people. That took me a long time to learn how to do because we didn't have arts programs, and Lord knows I was not athletic, so that didn't happen.
Same.
And, I could do a backward somersault. That was my claim to fame. And, yeah.
That's nothing to sneeze at, Karen Mason. Nothing to sneeze at.
That's pretty good.
Now I would probably throw out my back and my neck.
Right,
Okay,
same.
Don't try it. Don't try it.
Yeah, but there is something wonderful.
But, it is a good thing.
Yeah, it really, there is something great, especially even for young people who, this is not going to be, they may not find their career path as you did, from townsperson to Broadway, but there is something, I, as a theater educator for high school, it was one of those moments where I'm like, half of you are not going to do this, but there is something, just the experience. You still remember your line, from a while ago.
And it's team building.
And it's all about all of the skills that you get when you are working with the arts, especially with something that has a lot of collaboration. Like you learn the art of collaboration. You learn, what it means, like you said, like the discipline, the memorization, the choreography, and it really, it takes a village. And there's something so wonderful about that. And that the Illinois Conservatory for the Arts, it's a good organization to be raising some do-re-mi for.
And it's not a coincidence that artists seem to be more inclusive, more liberal-minded, because they work with all kinds of different people. People come together to do theater, and it's just. I remember when my mom, hosted those famous cast parties at the house, and they were good. They were good, and we'd be upstairs eavesdropping. We're supposed to be in bed, but there were gay people there. There were straight people there. There were, obviously there wasn't as much diversity as we would have liked in the suburbs, but I saw my parents interacting with a wide variety of people and ages and backgrounds, and it's something unique, that brings people together and teaches them about inclusivity.
Well, I think once you tell somebody's story, once you really listen and hear their story, how can you go back to being, afraid of another person who might not be exactly like you? This is why we need to listen to each other and to hear each other, is because then you can include everybody, because there's nothing to be afraid of.
Well, you're right.
Nothing.
It's all fear of the unknown, and people, sadly, are it's the stock in trade right now is fear. But people like you and people like this show, things like this show are going to keep people's faith and their ability to feel like we do have a lot going for us, and we do have a lot of. If we stick together and just do the things that feel good, and lift each other up, because that's what we have to do, is lift each other up.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. This event is going to be so special because not only are these really some terrific performers, but we get to sing with a 20-piece orchestra.
Oh, wow.
That's
and
pretty cool.
Conducted by Valerie Gebert, who is a Broadway conductor. I mean, there's nothing wrong about this at all. And to sing with those musicians and have such a great time with them. I mean, I'm used to singing with a piano in a cabaret. So to have 20 pieces, I've always had crushes on horn players. So.
Good reason for that. They know how to use their mouth. Okay.
Wow, all righty. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Let's get a little spicy here. Karen, you're breaking up. Sorry, Karen. Hey, listen. If you want to go out for a good time and support a great cause, the Illinois Conservatory for the Arts, a Night of Broadway benefit gala and concert is February 21st at the Wentz Concert Hall in Naperville. You can go to ilconservatory.org/events for tickets. And Karen Mason, you're getting ready to jump the pond too, right? Aren't you going over to?
I am.
Yeah.
London, yeah. In March I'm going to Palm Springs in 2 weeks. Coming back here and doing a Birdland in March.
Oh, wow.
And then I'm going to London for a week, which I can't wait.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Are you performing there or just going for vacation?
Yeah. Yeah, no, well, it started out as vacation, and then this opportunity came up to play the Crazy Cocks over there, which is at the Brasserie Adele. The hotel, it's in Piccadilly.
Oh.
That is as much as I know.
Well,
there we
you'll
go.
find out when you get there.
Yeah, right. Point me in the direction.
Come on, and now
And
vacation has
it's
turned into
lovely.
business trip. Write it off. Write it
Right
off.
And before we let you go, I want to wish you a happy 34th anniversary. I understand you celebrated on Friday.
We did. Thank you for remembering that.
You're welcome.
Thank you for knowing that. Yeah, we had a great time. It's hard to believe it's been that many years. I still feel like we're learning about each other.
Well,
but I
that's
guess
the best part.
marriage, eh?
Time flies when
That's
you're
the best
having
part.
fun.
Well, Karen Mason,
Right.
don't be looking at those horn players too long. You know what I'm saying? Again, go to Illinois Conservatory
spice.
for the Arts, a Night of Broadway. It's on February 21st. ilconservatory.org/events is the website. Karen Mason is a star and one hell of a person. Thank you so much for taking time out today. Break all the legs. Enjoy your time here.
you.
It's going to be cold here.
So much love to both of you.
Well, we love you too, Karen. It's always a pleasure to have you on with us. We really look forward to it.
Thanks. Please stay safe. And if you ever need me for anything, just call.
I got
Done
you.
and
got a
done.
friend.
You
Done
got
and
it, girl.
done.
You got it.
All right,
Break legs.
Karen Mason, there she goes, breaking all the legs.
Thanks,
We
Karen.
got to take a quick break, and when we come back, there's more Out Chicago right after this.
Welcome back. I'm writer and activist Stacey Anchin. You are listening to Out Chicago on WCPT 820.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller, rolling along. Well, and hey, on Monday on Choose Views, Michelle Peltier is going to be in for Richard. She'll be taking your calls. Choose Views weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. Central on WCPT AM 820, the Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and the Face Place. All those stuffs.
All of them.
That's going to be happening. Look, we alluded to this at the beginning of the show. It made me cackle so hard this week because it was just so petty and right at my, like I've always said, I have the musical taste of a 14-year-old girl and the sense of humor of a 12-year-old boy. Mm-hmm. Happy about it.
Yes, that is
proud of it.
Yes.
And apparently so does Representative Robert Garcia. So earlier this week, they were in this hearing about, waste, fraud, and abuse. And oddly enough, Marjorie Taylor Greene, that bastion of clarity, of truth, of intellect,
decorum.
She's amazing. She was chairing that particular hearing. Now, if you remember the last time that she was on with the hearing a committee, I believe she was chairing. Was she chairing it? I don't know if she was chairing it.
I know what you're going to talk
But that's
about.
when they were going after Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
In his laptop. And she decided to show an adult picture, a Richard pick, as it were.
A Richard pick.
A Richard pick. That's what we're going to be calling it. So Robert Garcia, he decided that he was going to show his own Richard pick during this. He's like, it's so weird since Marjorie Taylor Greene showed a Richard pick. I should show a Richard pick too. And he shows a gigantic photo of what he called President Elon Musk in a tuxedo because he is nothing if not a big Richard. And that was the whole think about like this man is infiltrating our lives in weird ways. He said, I think we're all here to fight against the lives of corruption and the attacks on our society's safety net. We should in no way be cooperating with House Republicans who want to shut down the Department of Education and destroy Medicare and Medicaid. And we should not stand by as the richest man on the planet gives himself and his companies huge tax cuts while the American people get absolutely nothing. It's true. What's going on? This is what I think we need to be calling our elected officials about, like what's going on with Doge or Doggy or whatever, what's going on with Doggy, because both Doggy and Musk face very big. There's zero transparency. They keep saying, "Oh, yes, no, I'm transparent because and that whatever shenanigans that he did on Tuesday in the Oval Office."
Yeah, with little X.
Oh God. Damien from The Omen. I mean, it really just felt like Damien was there. Like,
yeah, his spawn is special. I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, but his spawn also had some things to say, saying to the president, "You're not the president. You need to not sit there." Like, okay, where did this kid hear that?
I'm sure he didn't come up with that on his own.
He did not come up with that at all. I wonder where he heard that. And Ding Dong had to sit there and take it.
Yeah. He did.
Yeah.
He did
so now we know who is really in charge. 4-year-old little X Damien.
Little X.
Little X.
Oh.
But like, y'all, this is the part that gets me really just concerned. We call your officials and demand transparency from Doggy.
And then he put an executive order out that said that, everything he does is fine or whatever the heck he
Doggy is now exempt from public records laws for a decade. And Musk is submitting his financial disclosures, but it's not being made public.
And then when he was asked who's checking on you, because you're looking into this and you've got, as you mentioned, all these huge government contracts. Well, well, if he finds something, he's going to self-police himself. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Sure. But when they were talking about the transparency part, and he was like, "No, but I post everything on I'm very blah blah blah." Again, let's go back to there's zero accountability now on social media for facts. There's zero accountability for spreading lies.
So he can post whatever he feels like.
Whatever he wants. And again, these people, there is a handful of folks who are determining what is released or what you see based on your algorithm, based on whatever, based on the tone, whatever. That is very, very disconcerting, especially for people who only get their news from social media. So how transparent is he being? I don't know.
It's a very well orchestrated plan, starting with him buying Twitter, him buying the election, him being in the position that he's in right now. I'm just wondering if Trump is going to, at some point, feel jealous that he's getting too much attention, because we know how he feels about things.
Oh, yeah.
And when is that? I'm waiting for that moment.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be weird.
But I can't believe how much power this guy has. It's just, this is one of the subjects when you go down the line. They ask you to pick a subject in this 5 calls.
Oh, the 5calls.org.
Yeah, it's definitely, Elon Musk is one of the top.
Yeah.
That people can
He's definitely right up there
about.
on the top complaining about. I would complain about. Let's go back to RFK.
Oh, boy.
This dude.
Oh, my goodness.
He's talked about creating these little camps, like recovery camps for people with ADHD. He's going after ADHD meds. Is one of the new things that he wants to be going
and
after.
Putting them in a camp instead of giving them medication? Is that his plan? No, really?
Now, what did you just say? Putting him in a camp?
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that sound like?
What does that sound like?
Yeah. It's very strange, like getting all of the like National Institutes of Health data and giving that to the criminal system, the justice system. That's just weird. He's also not very. He's a big anti-vax advocate. He's a conspiracy theorist. He said that chemical exposure makes young folks transgender. That HIV does not cause AIDS, and that Lyme disease is most likely a military-engineered bioweapon, kind of like that worm that dried up in his brain or something.
Yeah.
This is a little weird. It's very disconcerting. And this is from the National LGBTQ Task Force. They said, while LGBTQ communities have been making life-changing strides to eradicate the HIV epidemic across the world, we are witnessing the recession of life-saving federal programs like PEPFAR, attacks on healthcare for transgender children and youth, the defunding of the healthcare study for the LGBTQ veterans, and the closing of the USAID department, which will set our progress back decades.
Yeah.
Decades.
Yeah.
This is the guy that's going to, make America healthy again. He wants to put special provisions on SNAP, what you can and cannot buy. Which, okay, let's go back to like some of the things, the basic tenets of what like make America healthy or whatever. He's looking at like preservatives and all these things. He talked about the poisons that we put in. So the poisons in their bodies. That's my RFK. I'm working on it.
Thank you very much.
I know. He had an illness. We can't make fun of him. He can't help it. But, he's looking at like labels and stuff like that and like what you can and cannot get on assistance. I'm like, okay. I mean, I get that. Like right now, there are things that you cannot buy
with SNAP funds.
Like you can't buy booze. You can't buy cigarettes. You can't buy you have to buy something that is consumable.
Right.
But if he's going to be putting this, like getting rid of anything with like preservatives or additives or whatever, that means people can only buy like whole foods, whole ingredients.
It's going to cost a fortune.
They're going to go through their SNAP things in a day based on what's going on with all these tariffs that are happening, with all of the, that will be happening, or I don't even know there's so much swirling around there. Like, what is happening? Are we on a 30-day thing? I don't know what's going on.
It's a minute-by-minute policy.
It's a minute-by-minute policy, yes. But there are different ways. They're taking away food programs for schools. It's like
he has no medical background.
None.
It's real travesty.
None. And the science that he keeps like, let's listen to the science. Let's listen to the science. He is ignoring most of the well-established science, cherry picking which science he wants to use.
Yeah.
That follows his whole agenda.
Philosophy. And wouldn't you know it, good old Mitch McConnell grew a spine.
Oh, don't even get
when
me
it's too
started
late.
with that one.
I am so mad at this guy. He voted against Tulsi. He voted against Kennedy.
He voted to not impeach Ding Dong the first time. He voted to not make him
He enabled where we're at today.
Yes, like it was he was able to be like, he cannot run for office again. That was not a problem. He and Kevin McCarthy, back when like their workplace was attacked, they were attacked, and now he's like, well, I seem to keep falling down, and I'm not going to be running for re-election again. Like that is the thing that's really upsetting me. People, the GOP and other folks are so worried about being primaried that that they're not doing the right thing. Like, what do you mean? Who cares if you're going to get primaried? It's not like you're not going to work. You're going to if you're going to give up your seat in the House, then fine, you're going to go back to your state and work in a private sector or go work in someone else. Who cares? But you got to stand up and do something that is right now.
Maybe if we had term limits, this primary thing wouldn't be such an issue.
I know. Term limits, campaign finance reform, like all of this stuff. We wouldn't have Elon Musk, who gave like $1 gazillion trillion to get this man elected into office.
Yeah, it's all of our worst nightmares coming true.
It is, and it's been this slow thing that nobody. I mean, there's so many metaphors that have been overused. Of like the frog in the water, and the water's being turned up, and blah, 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 and we don't realize that it's boiling when it's been happening for a while. The whole turn started like in 2008 with the Tea Party coming in, or 2010 rather. But it's like it's just been it gets my dander up.
It's hard to.
And Mitch McConnell, just shut up.
Yeah,
just
he knows
shut
his
up.
vote can't make a difference, so now he's decided.
And Susan Collins, you can be all concerned as you want. Murkowski, you can have questions.
We're going to hold his feet to the fire. We're going to make sure that Kennedy, follows protocol. Blah blah blah. Yeah, good luck once he's in there.
Yeah. So, and again, let's go back to the First Lady Michelle Obama, who had been advocating for like people. We've got to get up and move. You've got to eat better. You've got to like explore the world of vegetable, really, and being an example of like setting out and like here we've got a garden at the White House, and like this is the people's garden, like things that she was like actually doing. That was her platform. Yeah. And then but America didn't want to hear it from a black lady.
No,
they did not want to hear it from an uppity black lady. That's the mentality, and that is the part that's like
it's heartbreaking is really, and I sitting in the theater the other day thinking about where we're at. I just feel like the women in this country, all women of color particularly, have just gotten the biggest gut punch from what's happening. It's just no respect. I mean, just zero respect from the current administration.
100%.
And going backwards, and it's just we got to fight it. We got to fight it. I mean, he's just trying to take us back to the 50s, It's just like...
Or earlier.
I mean, it's... I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take because I'm not seeing enough resistance yet. Maybe there's planning and plotting going on. I don't know.
Resistance from whom? From like elected officials or just from the general public?
Elected officials primarily I'm talking about.
Again, so it's 5calls. What's it called?
5calls.org.
Yeah.
Number
5 calls.
Do it every day. It only takes a couple minutes.
Yeah,
it really does.
There's 5calls.org. There is house.gov. There is senate.gov. So you can find out exactly who your representatives are and the numbers where you can reach them directly. We need to be calling. We need to be sending emails. We need to be people who are going after NPR and public broadcasting. These are like truly, we're on a progressive talk station here. We're clearly, we have a bias.
Yeah, of course.
We're not hiding that.
No.
But the public broadcasting and networks, NPR and PBS, they're great. They keep it to the facts.
Yes. Yep.
And that's what we need. And without them, there's going to be no checks and balances. So, folks, hold your elected officials' feet to the fire. If Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins aren't going to be doing it, we got to do it. Those stupid poo-poo
I know.
dum-dums. All right. I swear, we need to get one of those little boop, 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 beep, 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 beep beepers, because I'm not going to make it through this administration without swearing on air.
It's hard.
But anyway, but if you want to hear some swearing on air, no, I'm kidding. There won't be any swearing, but tomorrow from 2 to 5 on Live, Local, and Progressive, Jonas Pizzito is going to be taking your calls and talking to Michael McElroy, political reporter at North Carolina-based Courier Newsroom, Cardinal and Pine, Rich Logis, founder of Leaving MAGA, Anders Croy, communications director at Florida Watch, and Democratic political strategist Peter Fenn. Live, Local, and Progressive weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Central on WCPT 8:20 a.m., the Heartland Signal website, and TuneIn. And we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the final thrilling show-stopping moments about Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'm Honey West. Welcome to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller. And hey, you know what? Tomorrow on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be joined by positivity expert and producer, podcaster Jen Zanotti and Dr. Jason Bussell of the Chicago Community Acupuncture. And Tuesday, she'll be broadcasting live from the Minocqua Brewing Company in Madison, Wisconsin tap room. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, 5 to 7 p.m. Central on WCPT, 8:20 a.m. Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Look, I know what I'm going to be tuning into myself.
Yes.
This evening.
Yes.
It's the SNL Saturday Night Live turns 50.
So will I. We've been having an all SNL weekend, Kathy and I. Got home from Valentine's dinner, and Friday night we watched the concert.
From Radio City.
That was... You know, I had some critic was, of course, somebody's going to always
of course
take
there's going to be a
issue.
critic.
But it's like 3 hours or something, and there's so many great moments in it. And then the everybody in the audience was connected to Saturday Night Live in some way over the 50 years.
Amazing.
So you forget how many different people they pay. You know, they did a lot showing the audience and some audience participation, but. Great performances. Cher, oh my God.
Didn't Cher, she was in her outfit.
Turn Back Time. Turn Back Time. An old friend of ours was on guitar with her, Joel, who used to Joel Hoekstra was Kathy Richardson's guitar player.
All right,
for years.
come on, Joel.
He was out there. But anyway, Jack White doing Neil Young's Rockin' in the Free World. Eddie Vedder was great. It was just one after the other. You know, there was some Tom Petty, people covering Petty.
Didn't the B-52s perform?
B-52s.
I love them.
David Byrne.
Yes, it was David Byrne and Robin doing, is it Call Your Girlfriend?
It's a song that I wasn't familiar
Dancing on My Own.
Dancing on My Own.
Yeah.
That must have been a club hit because
It's
I
great.
was.
I
Yeah,
love
it was
that
really
song.
good. And then he also.
I'm in the corner watching you kiss.
I never heard it, but it was great. I looked up Robin. I got to learn she was from Sweden. And then he did one of my all-time favorites, Home, and then Robin did it with him. Just a great special. You got to find it on Peacock. And then we followed that up last night with Ladies and Gentlemen. 50 years of SNL music that was directed by Questlove. It came out January 27th.
Okay.
A great documentary, really gives you the background on what was going on behind the scenes when some of these acts were out there, from Elvis Costello changing his song.
Okay.
And which they parodied in the concert the other night. They parodied. I'm not going to do this song, but then there was this band called Fear, which was a punk band that John Belushi. Don't even remember seeing it, but they were a punk band. The first time a punk band was ever on national television,
right.
And it was craziness ensued.
I'm sure
people was slam dancing and on stage, and it was like crazy. Then there was.
Did he talk about Sinead O'Connor?
Sinead O'Connor was a big part of the special.
There was a huge part ripping up the picture of the Pope.
In the dress rehearsal, she showed a picture of a baby, but on the actual show that night, she pulled out the picture of the Pope. And
Fight the real enemy.
Yes. Another thing, the very first time there was ever rap on Saturday Night Live, Deborah Harry.
Rapture.
No, she brought out this rap band group. I forget the name of them, but as she was the guest host. And she brought them out, and that was the first time rap ever was on national television, which I learned.
Do you remember who it was?
No, I can't remember the name. I'm sorry.
Not the Sugar Hill Gang?
No, it wasn't the Sugar Hill Gang.
Was it Run DMC?
No, it wasn't Run DMC. It was somebody, I can't remember.
Oh, gosh.
But anyway, these are the kind of nuggets that you just, you learn from this. And
where is that one available to watch?
That was on Peacock.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's
a lot on Peacock. But tonight is the big 50th special. And we'll be tuned in for that. I think Red Carpet starts at 5. And it's just been a great celebration.
It is crazy, just to think about what a cultural touchstone it has been for 50 years.
Yep.
I am totally biased, of course. But, if you want to know what's going on in the world, look to the comedians.
Absolutely.
The comedians' comedy will hold a mirror up to society and kind of like, this is where we are. This is what we're doing. This is kind of like what is in the zeitgeist right now and what we're talking about. And to think about this group of like young people, improvisers who are like, all right, we're going to go and we're going to do an hour and a half of live television. I mean, granted, there was that Lorne Michaels, his famous saying, like, it doesn't go on the air because it's good. It goes on the air because it's 11:30. Yeah. And that's kind of what that mentality. And to create something out of nothing, like, what an incredible spirit of that.
Totally. And it's a real reflection if you look back on where our country was at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly. The name of that band was Funky 4+1.
Funky 4+1.
And they were on February 14th, 1981, the Bronx group Funky 4 made hip-hop history when they appeared on national television, Saturday Night Live. First time.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why I couldn't think of them because they
Thank
were.
you.
But it's just, they went places that, you'd go, whoa, but you loved it because no one else did that.
Yeah.
On television, at least. You you had your Lenny Bruces and your George Carlins that were live if you went and saw them, but to see this reflected back, they were on right when the Vietnam War was winding down, was over, I guess. Saturday Night Live debuted in 1975, I believe it was. Of course, it's 50th anniversary, so it was October of 75. And it's just, I was at I'm older than you are, Scott. I was in college, and it was absolutely, we had parties around watching Saturday Night Live.
I remember how it felt like I had graduated to like adultdom when I was allowed to stay up to watch Saturday Night Live. And a lot of it, like, because I was the second wave. Like, I was your like Joe Piscopo, Eddie Murphy, Robin Duke, Mary Gross, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Like, that was my cast. As opposed to the originals of like Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, John Belushi, Gilda Radner, Jane Curtin,
Lorraine Newman.
Lorraine Newman, whose daughter is on Hats.
She's fantastic.
Yeah, she's great. But do you have any particular moments over the 50 years that you really...
For me, a lot of them were the musical moments.
Of course,
because,
that tracks.
I mean, they had the Rolling Stones that were on there, Paul Simon, Paul McCartney, who's going to be on tonight, I understand. The Coneheads, I mean, the Debbie Downer, just so many things that became Wayne's World. I mean, there's just so many things that came out of it.
Well, there are also
like
things,
Blues Brothers. I mean,
and the actual, the number of out gay people that are on the show now. Now it's been a very there are people who've been gay on that show that were also very closeted, very quiet, very closeted. Oh God, Terry Sweeney. He was back in the 80s and he would do Nancy Reagan.
Oh,
do you remember? He was we actually had him on the show in the early days.
Yeah.
He wrote a book or something.
I remember now,
Terry Sweeney, and then there was poop. See, clearly I'm not prepared. I'm just doing this off the cuff. But watching the queer representation that's going on there and being upped, and even the queer material in the sketches. Do you remember? It was one of the film things they did. It was a commercial for gay beer.
No.
It was in the 90s, and it was Chris Farley and Adam Sandler.
Okay.
And it was like a spoof on beer commercials where they're like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, a ton of bikini clad ladies are there oh. And they were he's I'm house sitting. Come on over. He's like, what's so big about this pool? And he turned watch this. And he turned on the faucet. And then it is filled with nothing but men in little tiny Speedo briefs. And they're both they're both really excited. And it's it was this beer for gay people.
Sure.
It was wonderful. The wishing well for sensitive boys.
I don't think I remember that.
Oh, God.
That was probably an era where there was a time when I was out a lot and I didn't see it.
Well, this was, I know. I mean, I only remember watching it because that was actually, that clip was shown in a class about queer history, about this being a historical moment.
Sure.
But even more recently, Emma Stone was on and she did this whole thing about, it was a new gift called Wishing Well for Sensitive Boys. which is just like, some boys like to take stage, some boys like to win the game, and others just like to contemplate their existence. And it's so funny. Yeah, and it makes me think of Jerry all the time because he needs a wishing well for sensitive boys.
You can get it for him, but
it's great. Birthday. But like just even, all the catchphrases that happen, going from the beginning, like Candygram from the Land Shark.
Isn't that special?
Isn't that special? Emily Latella. Never mind.
Or Rosanna, Dana.
Dana. Yeah. I mean, there's just so many things that have just become like Mr. Bill.
Mr. Bill. I had a pin. I had a Mr. Bill pin. I still have it somewhere.
I know Gumby was on. I'm Gumby, damn it. It's really great. I don't know. Like, there's something, again, the wonderful thing about comedy, and I guess art we're talking about, it holds a mirror up.
Yeah.
The thing about comedy is that it's that spoonful of sugar that helps the medicine go down.
Amen to that. We need more of that sugar than ever right now.
Well, we just need more people taking that medicine is what we need right now. So, congratulations. I've had some friends who are on it now. And who left.
I have someone that has remained nameless that I'm working with in real estate is being potentially looked at for SNL. Yeah, we're not going to say any names.
Can't do that right now.
But Chicago's been a huge breeding ground for so many great people on Saturday Night Live. And IO as well.
And IO, that's where we got Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. There we have it. Anyway,
just those two.
That's it. Just those two. And that brings us to the end of another show. 5calls.org. Calls.org.
Please.
I want to thank our guests, Elizabeth Yancey and Karen Mason. Devin, you running things just like a whiz. Amazing.
Like a boss.
Like a boss. Yeah, you are. Like a boss. Paul. Okay, Paul. There we are. And Ellen Miller. So great to see you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for listening to my rants and raves.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Enjoy Saturday Night Live.
Yes, you too. We'll talk about it next week.
There we are. And I'm Scott Duff. And until next week, stay proud.